Welcome to another exciting episode of the IsaacBoyz podcast. Dwayne the Ghost, alongside Terrorizing, coming at you guys with another episode
Yep.
of your favorite podcast, the IsaacBoyz podcast. Episode 109, which is going to be the final episode for season 3.
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah, this is our season 3. Some may say our least successful season. Possibly. I mean, we did do a lot of things right this season, but still, there were more dropped balls, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
This is just self-critique, of course. But yeah, I think we did. There's a couple of drop balls, and no fault of but our own. No one to blame. We did, left you guys on a couple hiatuses, some announced, some unannounced, and I personally I feel pretty terrible about it.
Yep.
And we apologized the last episode, but I think there's still room for more apologies. So again, we apologize for, I guess, the lack of communication and the lack of episodes dropping and all that.
It's a public relations issue we have, I think.
Yeah.
When things, aren't working out as planned, it would be good to inform the people, let everybody know, hey, this is what's going on.
And at one point, we were working on a PR person.
Yeah.
That unfortunately didn't pan out.
That was going to be a thing. That didn't pan out. A lot of plans didn't pan out this year, but with all the things that didn't go right this year, a lot of things did go right.
A lot of things did go right. We did manage to bring video, because that was, the big thing for season 3.
Mm-hmm.
Was going to be, video podcasts and all that. And we did, we got that dialed in for the most part right now, as you guys are probably watching this on YouTube. So that's been good. And I would say it wasn't always been sunshine and rainbows there, but, we got it to a respectable point now. Not as good as we would want it to be, but still, good enough. So there was that. There were some, some things worth celebrating. Of course, as we go through this episode, we're going to just kind of highlight some of the things that we think were some of our hits. Again, and continue to point out some of our misses. And then, let you know what we got going on as far as, the future and the future of the podcast. So it should be an interesting one. It's not going to be too long-winded either, but we did feel the need to come and address you guys, of course. So that being said, this year was a memorable year for the podcast in a number of ways. We did hit a couple milestones that we wanted to hit.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the main things that stand out, my number one moment so far, of course, with the podcast was being able to announce to you guys that I'm gonna be a dad. So
yep,
that was that's my number one moment. Yeah, for personal and being able to share that with you guys as well. So as far as memorable moments for me, that one definitely stands out.
Yeah, we definitely had a lot of highs, a lot of lows as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, with the highs of the new addition to the family, we also had a few lows. We lost our grandmother,
Mm-hmm.
Which led to a lot of the hiatuses that happened. Not only when she was sick and we had to travel, and then when the untimely demise, and we had to take some time off for that. That did bring some of the hiatuses.
Yeah.
And things that affected the podcast.
Which, from a professional level, we probably should do better at still being professional about things, but we are still human.
Yes. These things do happen.
These things do happen, and loss is definitely something you never get used to. And even more so recently, one of our I don't even know what you would call them.
Friends? Let's start
no, well, friends for sure, but I mean, like, as far as his role as far as VIVN.
Yeah.
One of our advisors, I guess.
Esteemed colleagues.
One of our advisors, one of the individuals that kind of helped VIVN to be where it is today. Of course, you're talking about Cosme Harrison. He lost his mom also. Mm-hmm. Funeral was last week, so shout out to him. Hope keeping his head up. And like I said, loss is something that's never easy. One of the things we always have to go through. You know, part of being alive is dying. So we are gonna lose loved ones, and eventually our loved ones will lose us. So, but yeah, that was definitely one of the lows. Probably one of the biggest hits to our podcast was, of course, losing our grandma. So there was that. So with life, like I said, there's the addition, and then of course there's unfortunately the subtraction as well of life. But it's life. It's like the waves of
the ocean.
Of the ocean, you know. Like, you know, the ocean comes in and it goes out, and it's just a circle of life. Even finances is the same way, especially when you're in business. You know,
sometimes the tide comes in and it's
good. You bring in the money, then the money goes out. You know, you reinvest it and do what you got to do in order for it to come back in with more, to go back out and do what it got to do. So, it's the lessons of life.
But yeah, we also had a lot of good points in our podcast, in that we were able to bring on a lot of guests this season.
We did have some. We still have a long list of guests that we unfortunately had to didn't get to, or had to cancel some of some guests. So we are gonna get to them next season.
Yes.
God's for our life. Fingers crossed. But yeah, we did get some guests on the podcast. Some people that you know had a good time, you know, sharing with us and sharing some of the things that they're doing. And we want to do more of that. We want to bring more of the, like we said, the local gaming culture on here.
Yep.
And kind of get that going again. So yeah, as far as guests, who was your favorite guest of this season?
I mean, I would say Howard. I think if you remember Howard Jones, he's the author. He was definitely one of my favorite guests. You know, simply because he's. I can relate to him in so many different ways. In that, when you're trying to create something from nothing, and you're in that early stages, you're investing your own money, your own time to create something that you're hoping people would interact with, or people would gravitate to, and you're not sure how to do certain things, and you're still looking for answers, and I could see him kind of in that phase, and I want to do everything we can to help him, which we have, we have been gone back and forth some conversations, and we're doing everything we can to see if we could, help him. I'm not sure, I don't know
how it'll translate to, dollars for him, but we got some things working on for him as well. But I liked having Callie on. Yeah, Callie was another good guest because we got into more of the anime talk, and anime is such a big part of
VIVN right now.
VIVN, and our culture of our community, not just here at the lounge, but across VIVN. Anime is part of gaming culture on a whole, actually. So, getting a chance to speak anime with him on the podcast, I think it's probably one of the few times we actually did talk anime on the podcast, which we probably should do more of.
Yeah, I think that's probably gonna be
one of the changes.
The changes moving next. I mean, I do know of at least 2 other local podcasts that talk anime already. I don't even know if they're still going on because I haven't heard from them in a minute, but so I mean that's kind of why I didn't really want to bring it on our platform, because it's kind of already been done. Didn't really want to step on anybody's toes, or but I think there is room for us to add that to the podcast.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you gotta kind of be careful too, because there's so much anime out there.
And you don't want to spoil anything.
You don't want to spoil anything for anybody, because it's always going to experience things,
fresh.
So it's just interesting to see how we can bring it on, and
how we do it.
How we would do that in a way that makes sense. Yep. We do have a lot of people that come to the lounge that are very versed in anime and can even more so than we are, that we could bring on and
have so anyone from the anime club we can bring on as a guest, and we can just talk for hours, just straight anime. So.
And I think that's there's room for that. There's definitely there's definitely a place for that, so we can maybe expand our listener base to a different audience.
Yep. So of course we've been doing the fight talk, and you get the MMA audience, and good ideas, which we do plan to do more good ideas as well moving forward this year. And maybe there's some room for some anime, or maybe even a separate
maybe a whole separate
podcast just for anime. That'll be a thing. That could be a cool. Actually, there we go. Put a pin in that, for sure. But yeah, I think as far as actually getting on here and recording, one thing I want to address before we move on forward is we did have we think we've narrowed down a plan as far as how we're gonna continue to roll with the podcast and not, miss as much days as we did last year. Because part of that was poor planning, of course, on our part, and of course, as you know, the release date has changed so many times this season. But I think we have it narrowed down now. So fingers crossed, moving forward, we should be good to go. So there is that. There were a lot of speaking of good ideas. There were a lot of good ideas that we did share on the podcast, and I don't remember which episode it was. Because there was one episode where we went in early on good ideas, and I actually got some feedback from that episode that that was there, like probably one of our better episodes. And I heard that from multiple people. So going off of the feedback, I'm guessing you guys like the good ideas. So we obviously are gonna double down on that and do as much as we can to, spread positivity, spread share whatever knowledge that we do have and all that fun stuff. So that's one thing I'm looking forward to. And one thing I noticed this year that I got away from that I'm getting back into is getting back into books. Because I used to either read or listen to books a lot, and I kind of this year between all the last year all the stuff that went on positive and negative, it's just been a ton of distractions. And of course, as the year is it's a new year, which we should have probably opened with Happy New Year and all that. But with the new year and everything, people making resolutions and all that, and it's a good reset point to kind of pinpoint the things that that personally I need to work on. And that was one of the things that I'm narrowing down to get back into my books, which I already have actually. I started before the year was out so that I could have the habit, just rolling forward. So getting back into books, and I'm like, yeah, this is the direction my life needed. Just so certain things, just as you read them, they stand out to you. So expect more good ideas. So much I can share. I might even start covering a book per episode or something. We'll see how it goes. Maybe a book a month. That's a better way to do it. We'll see. Maybe I'll start doing a book of the month for anyone that's want to know what I'm reading and all that good stuff. So because I am planning to read at least a minimum a book a month. So already finished one. So, but I'm rereading it. So because it's great. Such a good book. It's an easy read, but it's a great book. I think I mentioned it before on the podcast already. Actually.
Which one?
The Four Agreements. Such a good book. It's such a good book. There's so much I can say about it. Maybe I'll go more detail on it when we start, season 4. But that book it's talks about life the way things are, not so much the way we want them to be. So, in my opinion, anyway. But a lot of good points in that book. Already seeing the benefits, and my goal is to digest books. Not so much just read them just to say that I read them, but just to, dig into the topics and really chew on them and make them a part of daily practice. So, and working out and all that stuff too, of course.
Yep. Definitely.
Any New Year's resolutions?
Well, definitely getting back into shape. If you're watching the video podcast, you probably can tell. We definitely put on a few more than we usually have on. So.
Yep, getting back into shape is.
I mean, shape is one thing, but
just like what you see in the mirror a little bit more.
Yeah, I don't expect to be like
world's most strongest man and none of that.
And ripped and just shredded or anything. I mean, that would be a great byproduct of what we're trying to do, but more so for health reasons. Make healthier decisions.
You want to be around for the kiddos.
Yeah. More importantly, you've seen. I mean, personally, throughout life, you've seen enough. People make bad decisions in terms of eating, and it affects them later in life. There's a lot of that. I mean, I could go down a list of multiple different people that have were affected by bad health. But not only just have situations now with people that have even lost their life. Over making bad decisions
as far as what you put in your mouth.
And it's like
it's no one poisoning. You're poisoning yourself pretty much.
And it's I'm not trying to be a health nut or anything, like be completely, healthy. I know that's
A little unrealistic.
it's a little unrealistic, and it's not me. So, but I do plan to be a little more health conscious this year.
More moderation is always
More moderation, better proportions. I also would. I honestly would love a treadmill, but
I have one.
I know you do. Because I feel like there's a lot of downtime where where I'm not really doing. I feel like I could squeeze in walking in some of my downtime. Like for instance, when I'm watching anime and stuff, I could just be
On the
walking
treadmill.
on the treadmill, walking, knocking out a couple episodes. Where that way I'm making better use of that time, and now that time becomes more productive than just wasted time just resting. That could
Yeah,
be.
that's a good point.
So I want to start doing things like that. Obviously I could just go walking, with my phone in my hand and
Walk into traffic, sure.
yeah, exactly. You want when you're outside, you want to be more conscious, of what's going on around you. So that's why I feel like a treadmill in the home. I could just walk for hours and just not even think about it. I'm not even like trying to like
Run and sprint.
run and sprint and exhaust myself. It's just just being more active. When times where I'm not as active, I feel it would get some of the pounds off. And not just walking.
Maybe a
man.
bike. Well, a bike, like, one of those bikes would be good.
Bikes aren't bad, but I feel like bikes, you're kind of just still resting
Just because you're sitting?
because you're sitting. I mean, I'm not the. I'm not saying bikes are like a waste of time or anything. I could see that you are still working muscles and and whatnot.
I think Ajane was selling a. Was it a bike or was it one of those I don't know, he was selling something that he's not using, but I don't know. I can find it for you.
Preferably treadmill.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, I could always just go and buy one. There's
Space too. Where are you gonna put it?
there's just space, and there's a lot of things with getting a treadmill. If I could find something that's just the smallest treadmill I can possibly find.
Now that you say that, actually, I did see an ad sometime. I want to say it was last month or maybe the month before, of a simple treadmill that it's just the bottom part,
Yeah,
and it's
I've seen some really
pretty
small
narrow and it's very small, and there's no like nothing
Yeah.
to hold on to. It's just the belt going.
I've seen some like that as well, like some very small ones. But I don't know because they're not, from well-known companies and stuff like that.
You don't want to burn the motor out with your.
Exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know the level of production I'm getting. So
I hear you.
I'll stick with the more well-known ones and see what I can find.
I hear you. Alright.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of, I mean, and I hate to be cliche because that's
That's
literally
everyone's-
everybody's, New Year's resolution, always get in better shape and all that stuff. But I think I have at least a doable plan,
Mm-hmm.
because one thing about me that I don't mind like walking or I've never mind walking.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I could just walk anywhere. Like if there were some days I felt like instead of driving to the lounge, I just want to just walk to the lounge instead. But it's not practical because things always come up, and
You're gonna have to leave the lounge.
exactly. And I have no car. How
Yeah.
am I gonna do those things? So it's not practical in that way. So I feel like in terms of setting a plan for myself, I think that's the most practical.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of actually working out, it's gonna take a little more motivation, and with most people that's usually the case. But something like just walking, just being more active in downtime, I feel like that's a doable plan for me. That's something that I can. I don't just have the New Year's resolution of getting in better shape, but I think I have
An actual
action plan that's not crazy, but I feel like once I'm doing that, it's gonna start motivating me to do the other things,
Mm-hmm.
the working out and all that kind of stuff. Because once you're active and everything, and you start to see slight results here, you're like, okay, well, if I just do this and this more, I can, So that's kind of my, and some people are probably listening to this and be like, oh man, it's pretty lame. You know what I mean? Like I just,
Hey,
But-
some people are gonna make lofty goals and do nothing about them too. So
exactly.
and that's probably a good time for good ideas too. Actually, it's a good point that you just made. It's one thing to have the goal, but having the action plans is it's where the rubber actually meets the road.
Yes.
You can set the goal and everything, but Wise man once said, "You set the goal, forget the goal, and then do the work."
Mm-hmm.
Meaning you gotta, yes, you want to do X, whatever it is, whether it's getting in shape and all that. What are the necessary steps to get you there? Let's say you want to lose 50. It's not just lose weight, but you got to be specific. I want to lose 20 pounds, 50 pounds, whatever it is. What are the action plans that you have in place to do? Because you're not gonna hit that goal the first day or the second day.
Mm-hmm.
But there is some action that you can be taking, so that when the date of the goal reaches, you will be close to your goal, if not hitting your goal or surpassing it. So, action plans are definitely essential, and I do have I've written down some things which I won't share on here because I don't want to, put my personal business out there. But I did write down some things that what as far as like what I think my goals are in the different areas of my life, like what I want, where I want to be financially by the end of the year, where I want to be mentally by the end of the year, physically, all that. And then below those, I have what that actually means and what the actions are for those things.
Mm-hmm.
And because then once you do that, it's just a matter of
doing those things.
Yeah, you're not looking at the end result. You just gotta do whatever the action is, whatever that action is, and just keep doing it. So that becomes the battle versus, am I there yet? Kind of because you can say you want to make $1,000 extra a month. Okay, what are you gonna do this day to contribute to that? You can make $10 today, $100 today, whatever it is. Those are the things. Whatever the action is to bring in that extra revenue. Those are your action plans to get towards whatever it is. So if for all you making resolutions out there, you set the goal, yes, and make sure your goals are specific. With a date and an actual something measurable like a number or whatever have you. But then also get to action plans. See what it is. And if you need help with that, look for someone that's already done what you've done or what you want to do, and ask them. What's a good action plan for this? I'm trying to lose this amount of weight. How much work should I be doing? Is this goal realistic? It's the financial goal. Ask someone that makes that or 10 times that. Is this a realistic financial goal? Look at these. What's a good action plan to get to this goal? Just some advice.
Yeah.
Good ideas.
Good ideas. And what I like about my action plan is that it has multiple benefits to it, because it's like, if I'm using the time that I used to watch anime, because there's a lot of anime that I want to watch, but I kind of feel like I don't really have the time to, or I end up doing something else. But if I can specifically tell that time, okay, this is workout/anime time. Not only am I getting the benefit of the workout, but like, as animes, sometimes there's a lot of episodes, so all that time is just, I'm not even thinking about the work that I'm doing.
Just burning the calories.
I'm just burning the calories, as well as
getting some anime.
Getting some anime in and being more relatable to people that come here.
And good thing about that is that whenever you're sitting down and watching anime, you'll be like, I could be walking right now, and you just do it.
Yep. So I think I personally think it's a good plan.
That's actually another thing you could probably tack into the good ideas too as well. Something I picked up a couple years ago is like, when you want to develop a habit, the habit has a couple different parts, and what you just said, what we just mentioned is speaks to how sound that yours is that you want to have a trigger for like whatever habit. For a habit, you want something to trigger the habit, then for you to do the habit, whatever that is. So the trigger, the action, and the reward. So you gotta something that'll trigger it. So like, for example, let's say whenever I see this, I'm gonna think of whatever it is, or I'm gonna do whatever it is. For you, it's whenever you watch anime, watching anime is gonna be your trigger to I could be walking, to then get you to do the work, and you gotta come with if you want it to be a habit, come up with a reward for yourself, whether it's ice cream or something to undo the work that you've done already.
Watching anime is rewarding in itself.
There you go. Here you go. The reward will be being more relatable and getting some anime in. So and being slimmer. So
good reward.
There you go. So we got a whole bunch of good ideas there. You got set your goals, make them specific, come up with your action plans, develop some habits, trigger, action, reward. Can't say we didn't do anything for you. You're getting value on this episode of the podcast.
Value.
But yeah, great things there. Favorite movie, or well, yeah, we'll do movie / TV show, I guess this year or this season, past season of the podcast that we touched on or talked about, and then we'll do game, and then we'll do fights.
In terms of TV shows this season, I mean,
Anime included if you wanna.
oh, I was like, I don't really want to include anime. There was some really good anime this season, but I'm not gonna include anime. I'm just gonna
That we've talked on the podcast.
there you go. Okay, perfect. Let's touch on the podcast. Well, no.
TV show / movie, whichever.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, if you're gonna include movies, I mean, we didn't talk about Black Panther, but we did mention.
Yeah.
You know.
We were supposed to talk about Black Panther.
And you know what? I wouldn't say Black Panther. Believe it or not, we mentioned this movie slightly, but not. We mentioned in the same vein as Black Panther, but I feel like this movie didn't get enough press. Lady King was a really good movie.
I still haven't seen it.
You need to. Lady King was, I mean, just the title itself. You're gonna. My personal thought was like, okay, this is one of those pandering ass movies, you know, and you know, it's whatever. But I went in with that mindset, but I was like, I really like this movie. It was really because it again, it's on the same vein as your Black Panther and all that stuff in terms of like African pride and all that.
Mm-hmm.
It's along that same. It has a lot of that same in it. Like you leave that movie not only proud to be an African, but I'm guessing if you're a woman and you're African, you're leaving that movie feeling empowered.
There you go.
Because it was like actually I'm pretty sure my daughter watched it. I'm not sure, but she didn't watch it when we watched it. So I'm like, man, I really wanted her to watch it. That to me, that's the perfect movie for a mother and daughter to watch together. I think like as if you're a woman and you have a daughter and you're of African descent, watch that movie together.
There you go.
It will. You'll leave that movie feel like you can do anything. And I don't know. It was just a really good movie. I liked the action sequence. The action sequences of the movie was good. The story was good. I mean, it I wouldn't say it's predictable because it kind of is, but it was still good.
Yeah.
There was enough. There was some plot twists coming down, and you're like, okay, didn't see that coming. But I really I like the characters. I like I like that whole African pride thing. It's
great.
It's good to see more of it, and I like this one because it wasn't so much in the superhero vein of things. It was based on I guess actual events. I think it was, and. It just had a good vibe. It really did. Okay. It's a movie that everyone could enjoy, young, old. It was a really good. I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to say as much without spoiling it, obviously.
Yeah.
Because there's probably other people that have not seen it as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the cast. I didn't really. I mean, I'm not really one for movie award shows. I don't know how much awards it won or anything like that.
Yeah.
Or if the show's even happened yet, or I don't know, but. It definitely need to win something. I mean, forgive me that I don't remember her name, but the lead actress, she definitely needs an award.
Viola.
Yeah, Viola Davis or something.
Yeah.
I don't know her exact name. Maybe we're saying her name wrong. I'm not sure, but she
probably are.
She deserves an award for this movie because she did a phenomenal job. Her character was very well done.
She's a great actress, by the way.
She's a great actress. She needs her flaws while she's alive, because I can see her being one of those people that when she's dead, you're gonna hear all the good things, blah blah blah. But I think while she's alive, she needs to. And I saw an interview with her as well. Kind of a little unrelated, but I guess where she was kind of talking about like, people would come up to her and tell her like, I don't want to misquote it. But it was along the lines of, people were calling her the Black Meryl Streep or whatever.
There you go.
Marilyn.
Yeah, Viola Davis, you were correct, sir.
Yeah. They were calling her the Black. Is it Meryl Streep? Whatever that famous.
Meryl Streep. Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone was calling her that, but she realized she was being paid accordingly. Like, you know what I mean?
Ah.
She's like getting paid like a Meryl Streep, but but people would call it that. So it was like, I guess she took issue with that. Like, if you're from directors and stuff, like if you're gonna call her that, then pay her accordingly. You know what I mean? Because she I mean, if you look at her resume, she has a phenomenal resume.
She's been doing it for a long time.
She's been doing it for a long time.
I saw her on Law and Order the other day. I was like, I didn't know she was on Law and Order.
Yeah, she's.
But and she was playing a lawyer, which she eventually did get a show, How to Get Away with Murder, where she was a lawyer. For a show. Like
she's been doing the damn thing for. And again, great actress, especially again if you like her, if you like good acting. Lady King was great because the role that she had was such a. When I watch movies now, I like complicated roles, complicated characters that are not just on the surface.
Cookie cutter,
yeah. And she was not that because there's a lot going on with her character, and you learn more as it goes on. You don't get it right out the bat. You get it as it goes on. It's like, damn, you know what I mean? You kind of understood why she was the way she was, kind of thing, and it was. I felt it was really well done. I can't say enough good things about this movie, obviously.
Yeah.
Definitely do yourself a favor. Watch that movie.
Yeah. I know it's probably recency bias, but cause I'm trying to think of like all the movies that we watched throughout the year, and there were a lot of good ones. Like even the Batman I thought was really good. Was pretty good, but I'm gonna have to go with Black Panther for me. Even though it's controversial, a lot of people didn't like it. Some people didn't like it. Some people like it. Some people said there's plot holes and all that, but for me it was all about the overall experience. You gotta consider this is a movie that had high expectations going in. That's a good point. That not only did it have to perform under those high expectations, but it had to
at least meet it.
But at the same time, it still had to all the complication thing that the movie had to do as a standalone movie, and to do it even more so because it had to tie in
Marvel
with a bigger universe that it has to be a lot of connective tissue there. So all the complicated topics that it tackled in that movie, in a world where superheroes exist and everything, and you gotta have all this connective tissue. To me, it was like, as a producer, as a director, like getting all that done to still then deliver a movie that was, I think, still above par.
It was definitely above par. I mean,
even if it was just if it just made it, just barely scripting as an okay movie, it's still a very challenging thing to do. Never mind exceed, all expectations and deliver the way it delivered. So, and not only that, but the whole tone of the movie, the whole, everything about the movie, and all of that is built on top of dealing with the death of your main,
the main star.
The main star of the whole thing.
Who's still going to be kind of the star of the movie in a sense, you know what I mean?
Exactly, like to get all that I said, that's all on top of losing your main star. Like, I don't think this movie, as much as accolades that it is getting, I don't think it gets enough.
True, that's a good point.
Because, to me, that the director, Ryan Coogler, he should never. His family legacy should be set. He should never have to want anything for generations. The amount of money this movie should be making and the accolades it should be getting.
I mean, it is making actually.
It's killing it right now.
Right now, they say it's from in terms of a female actress perspective.
Yeah, it's number one.
It's number one
with a female lead. So that's great, and it is to continue to make money. It's actually coming to Disney Plus real soon.
Yeah, and
this month. Yeah, which is good. I'll watch it again. Some people say it's not a movie you can watch more than once, but. Well, I'll watch it again.
And I think it's like you see how they brought the Spider-Man back to theaters, just to make a few extra bucks. I think it's definitely one of those movies that they should do that with because I think it's still more money to be made at the box office. I think so, and not only that, but it's with both Black Panthers. You're left, like you said, with same with Lady King. Like you feel proud to be African, proud to be African American, all that good stuff. And this movie definitely gave you that good feeling at the end, like. Not even just at the end, throughout everything. That's my favorite movie that we've covered. Actually, we didn't even cover it, but we mentioned it.
And again, maybe it's recency bias, but I think it's the challenging nature of the entire project and everything they went through, and there were injuries during production and everything. Like that movie was not supposed to succeed, and it still did. It's all good things, and not only that, but they're now tying in like the whole like a Spanish Mayan culture as well. Like with this one,
they brought a whole other culture along with the ride, like to now kind of carry on that same thing they can if they wanted to. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It was, and they did it in a way that kind of showed like, hey, we're kind of all the same here. We're all
Yeah.
It's not, we're better than you. It's like we're all, even though we have our differences, we're all the same. And I like that message in the movie. That was really good.
Yeah. Went over a lot of people's head, but you can definitely see that there's a lot of parallels between Black Panther and Namor, which actually correlates with the comics and everything. The comics, those two are always rivals, and even though I didn't like the initial actor that played Namor, and I didn't like him when I first saw him. His performance was great, but when I first saw this is what Namor looked like, I was like,
yeah, me too. I'm still kind of there too, but because of what the movie stood for and everything, I understood why things were done the way. But it's like if they were bringing back, I just want to shave. I like a clean face Namor would be good. I don't know.
Yeah, and maybe get a little bit more better shape.
Get in better shape, shave,
but even
slick your hair back.
That's the name from the comics. Yeah, you're right.
But I mean,
if you don't do any of that,
it's still it's still fine. I mean, we're just
nitpicking.
You're just nitpicking. The same way I was like nitpicking about Carnage and Venom differences.
Oh no. That's not even to mention the Venom. Ugh. Anywho.
Yeah.
So favorite game we mentioned that we covered playing this year. I mean, trying to avoid recency bias, but go ahead.
Overwatch. Well, no, Elden Ring was this year?
Well, this season.
This season, yeah.
Yeah. Well, not this year, but last year. But yeah.
It's getting between Elden Ring and Overwatch, because Elden Ring for me, I mean, for somebody that doesn't really play a lot of single player games, I was like, maybe I'll dabble in this one just to see what all the hype is about, and far exceeded all my expectations. I could say Elden Ring. But one thing I do appreciate about Overwatch is that it just has this way of pulling me back, and I can always just jump in and play it, and not be too either overwhelmed or like I'm comfortable when I play Overwatch. I'm comfortable in doing whatever I need to do. I know when I'm playing bad. I know when I'm playing good. I can I just understand Overwatch well enough to know what's what, and it's just a comfort for me. It's just like I can just jump in and play Overwatch and be fine, whether I win or lose. I'm still having a good time playing Overwatch. That's why I like Overwatch. Like, even though they made some adjustments to Elden Ring and they brought out a new part, I haven't even tried it because I don't know, all Elden Ring in my mind is just such. It's already up on a pedestal, and it's like, if I don't play Elden Ring again, I'll be fine, and it would still go on a list of one of my favorite games, even if I don't have to play it again, because it's like I've experienced it and I've done it. I'm guessing there is more to experience and whatnot, but I don't know. I just anywho. I just think that it's been done. You know what I mean? And that's what to me, that's single player games. That's what they should be. It's like you should go play it, get the experience, and then
that's what it used to be back in the day. You beat a game, you beat a game. That's it.
And that's what I mean. Even
move
though
on to the other game.
Even though in Elden Ring you can go back and beat it over and over and over again, and
you did start a little.
I did start that, and I could see the
replayability,
and the good things about doing that. But I'm good if I don't do that. You know what I mean? I feel accomplished in that game.
Yeah.
And it's like now I'm actually looking out for games that company puts together, because the next one it looks like is going to be Armored Core, which if if Elden Ring is the standard, I can only imagine what. I mean, I know it's not exactly like they're the same type of game,
Mm-hmm.
so you can't really you probably wouldn't be able to compare the two.
Mm-hmm.
But from a level of detail perspective and a world building perspective, it kind of gives me a lot to be excited about for Armored Core.
Yeah.
And of course, we played Armored Core before, and we
Enjoyed it.
we
and all that.
enjoyed it. So I can only imagine, playing a newer version of
Of the
Armored Core,
updated, yeah.
updated version of Armored Core with the enhanced graphics that we have today. Couple that with the different technologies that are available today, or that not just real technology, but science fiction technologies that different animes inspire, or different shows inspire. To see what kind of technologies that could be incorporated in this new game. Based on technology. It's just I'm interested to see
What direction they go in.
what direction they go, what kind of weapons we get, how you can incorporate that in an RPG aspect in terms of how they affect stats and all that. It's I'm looking forward to what they roll out. I know it's not. It's probably I don't remember what date they said, but I don't think they even announced the date. But
Yeah.
they can take their time with it. I'm fully confident in whatever they bring out.
For me, game, of course, my number one played game, of course, is Apex. I still play Apex. I still love Apex. So that's my game, I guess, of the year, because every season I cover it and bring it to you guys, what's new, what's old, all that good stuff. So Apex is still Apex. It's there are some big changes coming, which we'll cover in the next episode and everything. But yeah, Apex is still my number one game right now that I play and enjoy. Halo was up there too as well. I do have some honorable mentions. 2 games in particular that I want to mention that did grab my attention, and they came out of left field for me. One was Skull.
Mm-hmm.
Skull was definitely an honorable mention that I never thought I'd play it. Would be interested in that kind of game, and I played a ton of Skull, the Hero Slayer, and up until the recent update, I because they changed a lot of the meta for the recent update, so I kind of fell off. But still, while I played it, it was a great experience. Still haven't beaten it, but it's one of those games that you don't have to beat. It's just playing it over and over. It's a fun experience, trying out different builds and different things. So that's definitely an honorable mention for me. And another honorable mention I think was Gunk. Because again, another game I never had, I wasn't looking out for it to come out. Wasn't expecting to play it at all. It just happened to be on Game Pass, and happened to come out around a time where I wasn't playing much else and anything. I was like, you know what? Let's see what this next gen stuff is gonna be, because it was one of the first games since the Xbox Series X came out that got released on the new Game Pass, and I was like, let's check it out, see what's going on. And I played the entire game through, from beginning to end, which is signs of a good fun game. And the game is not like, it is groundbreaking in the sense that what you're doing is some interesting stuff as far as like cleaning up and some of that. Got your little vacuum thing going, but it's like not like real compelling
Gameplay.
great gameplay that's gonna world breaking. But yeah, it was simple enough for me to play, and the story was, I guess, interesting enough for me to stick around, and short enough for me to get through it. So that's another honorable mention for me, which I don't hear much people talk about that game, but to me it was fun for what it was.
Another honorable mention for me is Dead by Daylight, which again, not a new game, just a game I started playing again, because I always play down and pick it back up every now and again, and picking it back up again, it was tons of fun. I enjoy the game. I like different builds for the game, which I was working on another build that I didn't get to finish, which I might, since I finished the battle pass for Overwatch, I might jump back on some Dead by Daylight. And it inspired me to watch all the Hellraiser movies, which are all bad. Wouldn't recommend any of them. But I still that's definitely has to go on honorable mention, because I still think I would play. There's still more Dead by Daylight to be played by me, and I've played hours upon hours of Dead by Daylight, and I still look forward to playing more. So
yep. All right. Well, last but not least, fights. Any what's your fight or fight moment, or if you want to do both? can go through that.
Well, both. I mean, for me, it's going to be Leon Edwards against Kamaru Usman. I don't think. I don't know that.
Yeah.
That's 100% why we watch. That moment was 100% why we watch.
Yeah, they were literally like talking bad about him at that point. Like it's like the fifth round, they're already saying like, yeah, he lost. He has to do more than this. He wants to win. They were literally like writing his obituary.
I don't honestly. I mean, I honestly could be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong. But I don't think there's gonna be another moment like that. Like, I don't think it's gonna be another moment like that. I think that's like the height of MMA for me. Like, I think I've reached my peak when it comes to MMA because I honestly don't think there's gonna be anything better than that. You know what I mean?
There's always been moments like that though.
There's always been moments like that. So
there always gonna be moments like that.
Always gonna be moments. But that particular one, I don't know. That was a little different.
That one hit different for sure because
that one hit different.
Considering his story. Where he's come from, the build up to it, the fights getting cancelled and the whole COVID thing, and
his nickname is Rocky.
Yeah,
playing
out like a Rocky movie. He was getting pieced up.
He was getting beat the whole movie, and then the whole fight, and then the last round he pulled it out like straight out. You couldn't write it any better than that. You know what I mean? Like if you wrote that, it would have been 2 on the nose. You know what I mean? It's like it was so perfect.
Yep. It's out of left field too, because it wasn't like a TKO.
That's the next thing. It wasn't like bad ref stop it.
No. Because even if you wrote a movie, it would probably end like a TKO. It'd probably be like a sequence and then referee pulling off him. It wouldn't be the next combination you throw as the guy goes completely flatline. Like you would never write that in a movie.
No. It was one of those. But yeah, it was just perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect the way it was done. And again, I mean, even the Israel and Pereira, that fight. I mean, that one's.
It's kind of like that, but it's obviously not. It's not the same gravity.
Nowhere near that.
It doesn't have the same gravity, but
it doesn't hold the same gravity, nor like the knockout. Again, it wasn't like a complete clean knockout. It wasn't like out cold. It was,
Yeah.
You could argue a bad stoppage, blah blah blah. But again, yeah, Leon Edwards for me, winning the belt.
Yeah, I would say for me too as well. There, another honorable mention, I think for me. Even though it's not, it's more so for the gravity of what potentially could happen, or more so for the person, is Francis, winning his belt back.
Yeah.
That was another big moment, I think.
That was another big moment.
Him getting his belt back after everything that he went through. Like, again, it doesn't have the same gravity as what happened with Leon Edwards, but it's an honorable mention because, considering everything Francis went through, as far as, getting this meteoric rise, to then, losing and people saying he's done, then coming back and then coming off of injury. Like, everything was great. And now he's the current UFC champion that, no one wants to mention anymore.
Yep, because he's holding UFC by the balls at this point.
Good for him. But yeah, those are definitely, I would say, the highlight moments. Yeah, I mean, as far as the lows, Conor getting knocked out before he didn't like that.
Yeah.
But that wasn't this year. That was the year before, because he broke his foot this year, last year. But yeah, still a huge Conor fan. Don't think he comes back, but if he does come back, I'm gonna be there front and center. Most people are not Conor fans anymore, but I'm still holding on. What can I say? UFC is still great. Love UFC. Can't wait to what happens to see this year. There's a lot of MMA news. I don't know if I want to cover it on this episode, but there's so much MMA news right now.
There's a lot because there's a lot of things happening.
There's a lot of things happening in sports and MMA.
Yeah.
But we'll quickly there for another time.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that.
Definitely discuss some things that I know off air
Mm.
for sure. Because I don't want to. I don't want to kick him out while he's down. But yeah, there's some things happening right now. That's.
Some things.
But yeah, I think that's a good word. It's a good place to end it. You know, we've had a good, good podcast. It's been a good season so far. We're still here. We're not going anywhere. If we are, we'll definitely let you guys know. But we do want to bring more value to the podcast and more value to you guys, especially our supporters. For those of you that have been supporters from day one, we can't say enough good things about you guys. You guys have been awesome. You guys continue to rock with us, even though we left you guys out, out to dry, unfortunately. You guys, continue your support, so we do definitely appreciate that. And we do want to bring more value to you guys, so any suggestions you guys have or anything, feel free to hit us up. But we will definitely be adding value for sure, because we love you guys. 9,000. So with that, you guys continue to be good to each other. Stay safe out there. Happy New Year again.
Yep. Happy New Year.
Yep. IsaacBoyz out.
Peace.